is that what I'm going to spend my time on?
Yeah.
So, but I really like soccer. Softball was fun. Basketball, I've kind of always enjoyed somewhat, but ever since that car accident that I was in college, if I do anything that's a lot above my shoulder, shoulder, then it's a lot of pain. It's not ever too much pain in the moment. Like if I'm not able to do something, it'll kind of stop itself. It's afterwards, like the night of or the following day, where it burns and it's bad.
Well, that's something that I want to get into with you is your car accident, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so paint that picture for me. You are in
I was in Redding, California.
Redding, California.
Oh, yeah, I was in Redding, California. I was in the back right of the car.
Back right, okay.
So it's just a small car, so I was the only one in the back seat, two guys up front.
At any point when you're riding, are you going, we're going to hit, like we're going to crash?
Yeah.
Really?
So, yeah, well, so that's one thing that, because I've always been pretty cowardly when I feel like I don't like confrontation.
Yeah.
And it's not because it's purely selfish, where I don't want people to not like me and things like that.
Yeah.
So we were driving a little bit crazy and a little bit reckless. It was out on country roads. It was starting to rain, had rained for a while. And so the driver was taking corners a little too sharp and things like that, being fun, being reckless. He wasn't drunk at all, but he was just having a little too much fun. And so, but I didn't speak up because I didn't want to be made fun of for being too concerned. And look what happened. I should have been concerned. But yeah, I think I was texting someone because we were on our way back to the campus because us three were heading back. I was heading back because I had homework due later that week, and I was actually trying to be responsible and leave the birthday party early. So also lesson learned, don't be responsible with homework.
Yeah.
But I was actually on my phone when I felt a shift off of the road.
Oh.
It's like I felt like the car catching the gravel and start going sideways. And I was like, that's different. And then it was really weird because I went into like third person to where what I did is as I was texting, I felt a shift. I look up and we're heading straight towards a tree, and it's big. And all I do is just close my phone and set it down next to me. And that's it. like, that's all I did. And I wasn't like thinking like, oh, this is what I do. It's just more like, that's it. So I thought we were dead because
you're doing this all like
yeah, that's what I did, but with the phone. And I wasn't thinking like, oh, let's be funny, or like, oh, this.
No,
I don't know what I was thinking, but I was very calm, and it's just like, that's it.
Oh, dude, that is the funniest visual.
It is. Every time I go back, because like I've now had 5 years, and every time I replay, I'm like, what in the world was I thinking? Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, we hit the tree, and that stopped us from going over into a ditch, which could have been a lot worse.
Okay.
Both the guys in the front had airbags, so I think the worst injury between the two of them was a sprained thumb. But I didn't have airbags in the back, so the seatbelt saved my life, but it broke my right clavicle and then bruised my rib cage pretty bad. So that was tough.
Seatbelts are hoarded sometimes with what they can do.
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't have the seatbelt, I would have been hugging a tree. So it definitely was the better option. But it was like, and it was just bad enough to where like they were able to offer me like, do I want to try and have it heal naturally or go into surgery? And so we're like, well, surgery is less invasive. Let's go with that. But now how it's healed, it ends up, if you're looking at it from the top, it's like this. So this side is slightly on top of the neck side, and it's at a slight angle. So it's pretty weird when you feel it. Like you can feel the drop off and then the change of angle. It's fun.
Man. And didn't you get out of the car and like lay right on the ground?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how much you want me to get into this story, but it was, I ended up getting out of the car. I was able to get out, and I don't know how, because I was trying to unbuckle and I couldn't unbuckle. So I was like, okay, well, at least try to open the door and call to the other two guys because they've gotten out. And they both gotten out, and I couldn't get the door either. And so I was already not using my right arm, but I didn't know why. And I didn't even process I wasn't using my right arm. But then I remember someone opening the door. Like, I don't remember me opening the door, but the door got open and my buckle got unbuckled. And so I was like, thanks, reached out and grabbed the hand that was there, and I recognized the voice. They helped pull me out, from what I remember. And then I stood up, and then I'm like, oh man, I'm feeling dizzy. I should probably lay down before I pass out and cause more harm to myself if I am injured. So again, very calm. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I laid down in the gravel, and then the two guys, so the guy that was in shotgun, Patrick, had run around and was helping calm the driver down because he was freaking out. He'd never been in an accident before. So then they both run over and they're like, wait, where's Joey? So they come over and I'm down on the ground. So they're like, oh, okay. And so then they call my parents, they call people from the party and stuff like that. So yeah, so I laid down, but it wasn't until like a couple days later when I realized, like, I thought the person that helped me out was Luke because it was a dark-skinned hand that reached down to help me out. The voice I instantly recognized as a friend. But then Patrick was telling me, like, Luke was freaking out on the other side. I had to go help calm him down, and he never left. So I have no idea who helped me. Like, if that was completely my imagination or like what in the world happened there. It was really weird.
I don't think
so,
I knew that detail.
Yeah, it's not something I share a lot because, I mean, it's not like, don't like getting into spiritual or theological debates with people about something where it's like, I can't really prove it. I don't even know what actually happened. It could have been my memory. I mean, I feel like if I leaned on a hand, I would have face planted into the door that I hadn't actually opened. But yeah, I don't know.
Man,
it's weird. They ended up calling. They didn't know if they wanted to call an ambulance because they didn't know if I had insurance and they didn't want me to pay for it. So they're all just kind of sitting around. They call my parents in the middle of the night. And they're like, hey, is this Joey's mom? My mom was like, yeah. I was like, okay, well, Joey's got in a car accident. And that was it. That's how they left it. So my whole family freaked out. And they're like, what's going on? Like, well, we're wondering if we could call an ambulance. And so then, yeah, that's how it went. On the ambulance ride, they had to cut my Cascade Surge jacket, which Cascade Surge no longer exists. And so it was still an authentic jacket. And I was so sad about that.
Oh, dude. And what repercussions are you still, besides, like, I guess in your everyday life, not necessarily sports, but in your everyday life, like, can you even, does it get tired, like, holding a kid in that arm? Or do you gotta, like...
I mean, no matter what, kids always get tiring. So I don't think that affects it too much. And I've been able to do whatever I want as long as it's below my shoulder, and I don't seem to have any effects from that.
What about compensation for this?
Yeah, I did get some at the time. I mean, to help with, and so I ended up using that to help with some of the college stuff, as well as get a cheap. I got a Jetta, the red Jetta. I don't know if you ever saw that one.
Oh,
the diesel, super slow, but that thing. When I was driving up the freeway to Portland, it was the first time that I was an extra for the librarians.
Yeah.
So I was going up at like between 3 and 5 in the morning every morning.